I just got to the hospital at 20 past 2, and she was sitting up in bed. And I spoke to her, and she left over right away. And within, I should say, a minute, she died.
My cousin, when her mother died, she had 23 persons sleeping at her home. And she only had a 3-bedroom house. But unlike here, you can sleep on the floor because it's a warm climate.
You are suffering an awful lot from shock. You're going along on cloud nine, even though it was expected. You don't expect your family to go before you.
There's something obscene about bringing predeceased by a healthy son. It's a shock, it's an outrage. It shouldn't happen. You don't go to your son's funeral.
Hello, Anne. Hello, Joe. Hello, everybody. My name is Jo Marcus. I've been a bereavement counsellor for many years now with the elderly, and when Anne and I were working together at a bereavement project last year, we decided to try and put together a video on the subject. Our aim is to show something about death and bereavement from an old person's point of view based on their personal experiences. We wanted to show how they react to their situations and coped with them. We feel that they're very moving accounts do a great deal to belie the popular held notion that anything to do with death and bereavement should be ignored and swept away under the carpet. Do you think that's a true statement, Dan?
Yes, I do. It's certainly my experience too in the years that I've worked with elderly people who've been bereaved. But what struck me as we went round meeting people for the video, how as well as them sharing their intense pain, it was really enthralling to see how the variety of their experience of bereavement, it wasn't just loss of spouse, but it was of brothers and sisters, of sons, daughters, and how their reactions, and that was so diverse that it didn't fit the stereotypes that we've so often been told exist in that age group.
I was pleased to see that none of our participants were in any way tempted to make hasty decisions early on in their bereavement. Really major decisions which affect their homes, their independence, can be taken over hastily, and then afterwards they regret it.
I don't know I'm going to find that.
Grieving can be exhausting, surreal and confusing, leaving us feeling completely lost.
We thought we understood
grief,
but soon realized
we didn't.
We did not know it can be so physical and even feel like it would kill us. We did not realize that fear could be more overwhelming than sadness. We did not anticipate that a major loss could make us feel like a stranger in a strange land, cut off from everything that gave us comfort in the past. We simply did not know grief. Grievers of a major loss often need guidance in finding their way out of the darkness. Here are 12 suggestions to help facilitate your grieving after experiencing a major loss. 1. Be patient with yourself. Grief is disorienting and exhausting, so keep your expectations of yourself realistic. 2. Be gentle with yourself. You have been deeply wounded and will need a compassionate inner voice to help you work through the trauma of major loss. 3. Keep your life as simple as possible. You will be exhausted and in no frame of mind to make decisions. So don't if you don't have to.
Give yourself time to find your equilibrium
and rebuild your strength. 4. Allow yourself time and space to grieve. In other words, don't pretend you haven't been wounded. Instead, find ways to work through the feelings and thoughts triggered by the loss. 5. Develop rituals to facilitate the grieving process. Read about grief. Attend a grief support group. Journal about grief. Talk with others who have experienced similar losses, or see a grief counselor. 6. But also give yourself permission to set grieving aside for a while. In other words, don't obsess on the loss for any longer than necessary. It's okay to work, laugh, relax, and have fun when you can. You'll definitely need breaks from grieving to recharge your batteries for the difficult work ahead. 7. Seek support from safe people who do not judge you or tell you how to grieve. In fact, you might find support from unexpected acquaintances who quietly emerge from the shadows and know how to listen. Most likely because they've suffered a similar loss. 8. Most importantly, accept that your life is going to feel crazy or unreal for a while. You can't wish the pain away or just snap out of it. There are no shortcuts to grieving. You must gradually work through the pain. 9. Have faith that grieving leads to healing. Faith matters because major loss can leave you feeling hopeless. Speaking with a grief counselor or others who have experienced a similar loss can offer hope. Educating yourself about grief can help you trust the process of grieving when hope seems difficult to find. 10. Have faith that grieving leads to personal growth. The bittersweet truth is that achieving acceptance will make you a wiser person. 11. Try to find meaning in your suffering. As your grieving progresses, try to invest your pain in some meaningful activities, big or small, that honor your loved one, which can transform your suffering into sacred love. 12. Self-care is never more important than when grieving a major loss. That's when you feel lost and don't know what to do. Ask yourself this question. What do I need to do to take care of myself right now? Do I need to eat something or get some rest? Talk to someone or take a shower? Whatever you decide you need, do it. Self-care must be your default focus when grieving a major loss. People-pleasing will not work. If you found this video helpful, please click the thumbs up button. And if you want to hear more from me, then subscribe to my channel, Counselor Carl. I will be publishing a new video every other weekend. You can also visit my website, SerenityOnlineTherapy.com, to learn more about me, other mental health topics, and the services I provide.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the grief process. I'm on about 30 minutes early today, so let me go ahead and share my presentation with you all today. Oh man, this here is a topic we could talk about for days on end. So let me go ahead and show my presentation. All right, let's go to the slide there. We're gonna be doing 2 or 3 slides today because I'm a little behind. Hold up, let me go back. All right. Ooh, I went way too far. So today's topic is the grief process. And the question is, why do I think about my own death? So this here can trigger a lot of things inside of you. So the reason why you're thinking about your own mortality, because you may have been stressing about stuff, or you may have been feeling emotions that haven't really came out until you have lost a significant other or loved ones. So you're afraid that you may end up with those same type of health underlying issues with your own life. And you may feel like, oh, if that happened to that person that I love, that happened to me. This is where you really start to be concerned about your health. And also, too, you're kind of concerned about the surroundings and the people that you're interacting with. So if you've seen a behavior pattern of people around you that just all of a sudden are passing away, natural causes, underlying conditions, or just in day-to-day routines, and you start to say, hey, I better check in with myself and see what I need to do to correct some things in my life. If you need to exercise, do that. If you need to get on a strict diet, do that. Do you need to check your weight, check your heart, check your pancreas, get all that stuff checked out. Make sure your health is intact you need to apply for a life insurance policy for yourself. That's some things to think about, ladies and gentlemen. And a lot of times most people don't want to do that because they may have underlying conditions, or two, they may not can afford policy. This is why you shop around for life insurance policies, to kind of see what is suitable for your budget. And most people talk about whole life and term life. See, what whole life insurance, it's kind of tricky, but at the same time, I'm gonna give you an understanding of the difference between whole life and term life insurance. Whole life is where it takes care of you for the entire time. With term life, it takes care of you for maybe 10 or 20 years, and then that's when it turns into whole life. So you may have paid a policy for term life for X amount of years. So then when you reach the age 45, that's when you can start applying for whole life. For people like me, we had to apply for term life from what I heard, because we can't get whole life until we get like 45 and up. And the more money that you put into your life insurance policies, like, for example, this is the conversations we need to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. For example, you may want to get a policy of $50,000 or $65,000 or $75,000 or even $100,000. And I'm gonna break it down for you with funeral costs, that calls for the casket, that calls for the wreath, that calls for people dressing and doing hair. And don't get it started about how much it costs to get the vault for the person, because there's different prices when you're dealing with the funeral home. And this is what we're going to talk about here today. And then we're going to go on to the next slide. And most people are like, I don't want to know. And no, trust me, you need this information. Anytime somebody has passed on, most the people don't have life insurance because they feel like it's a waste of time. So you have to shop around to see which life insurance company is best for you. Most people will do GoFundMe account, Cash App, PayPal, do fundraisers to raise the money up and just pay it out that day, so they don't have to deal with the life insurance companies. Because some life insurance companies can really be very, they can be a handful when it comes to them to release that money. And I know a couple of them, I'm not going to disclose their information, but they're not very good life insurance companies where you got to fight to get your money to pay for the funeral services and all the burial stuff. They're not very life insurance companies, because they're going to give you the runaround, this and that and the third, and it's not a very good situation, because they're going to make you go through channels. They're going to make you send paperwork they already have. They're going to make you verify something they already know just to keep from paying you. And I've known from experience dealing with loved ones and what they had to go through. But if you have a good life insurance company, make sure now that everybody's where they need to be in terms of who is the beneficiary and how many beneficiaries you're going to have on that policy. How much is the policy worth? For most funerals running, you're looking at probably about $6,000 or $7,000. Now, if you're going to one of those extravagant funeral homes, you're going to be paying at least about $12,000 or $13,000, maybe $17,000. You're like, whoa, because they're very expensive, because they have, like, I want to say, have different funeral homes. They may like maybe a branch where they may be in different locations in the States. So this is why I recommend you get a higher policy for yourself, so that way you don't have to come out of pocket for nothing. So if you're looking at a $17,000 funeral, I suggest you get yourself at least a $70,000 or $80,000 policy. And a lot of times too, the funeral homes like to pull have somebody go pull, and that's another $500 to pull to see if the life insurance is valid and make sure the value is worth how much it pays for you to conduct services. So you have the fee for the casket and the wreath and all these different things. That's a fee. Then you turn around and have another fee for the vault and putting it in a plaque. I forgot about the plaque. So you got 3 different fees that's coming out. So you have the funeral part, you got to pay that amount. Then you have the fee for the vault to put to bury the person and the vault. Then you want to invest in getting a plaque for that person. So you're looking at a lot of money to bury somebody. So consider getting yourself a high value and coverage for life insurance, whole life, term life. So do your research, everybody. I recommend AARP for a reason, because they're a very good company. Who else? But Who else? It's a couple of more out there, but I highly recommend, because I know by a shout of a doubt that they will pay for your services. So the more coverage you have on yourself and enough money for your loved ones to take care of any obligations after you have gone, will kind of give that family a sigh of relief. Because if you get your $100,000 policy, the policies paying monthly is very significant, but at the end of the day, if you're willing to make that sacrifice and pay, that is well worth it, so that your loved one won't be struggling and going through a whole lot of problems. So for those of you who have life insurance, check on your life insurance policies. Make sure you know who's the beneficiary, how much each person is getting. Somebody getting 25, 75, 100. If they're getting all, make sure you get yourself a living will to have, and make sure you have a lawyer or somebody who's a legal reputation to kind of look over this stuff. And have a living will, and having a will is very important just for yourself. So that way, anything ever happens, this is what you have to do. And these are the steps that you have to go by. It's a lot of information, but it's very, very informative, everybody. Okay, so let's get to the next thing. The grief process. Why do I feel like I'm losing people who say they care? Because after somebody has left, ladies and gentlemen, people go back to their lives, and you're still in a place of shock. You're still in a place of disbelief. You're still grieving after all this time, and they're going back to their life. They were there for that moment, for that time period, while everything was being prepared and taken care of. And eventually people venture on back to their lives and move on to their daily routine until the next episode, unfortunately. And that's the way the world works. And you may have some that may stick around to make sure you okay, but most of the people, you know, they're not going to really be consistent in checking up on you. And I'm just being transparent. I got to be checking up on you, see how you're doing X amount of months or X amount of years, because they went back to the way life is for them. And they dealt with grief the way they dealt with it. This is why I recommend, again, support group, grief counseling, people who actually talk about this all the time and actually live this walk. Being around people like that will very much help you, because you're helping each other. And sometimes they may get closed-minded too, but if you have that one or maybe good two that contact you and see how you doing, you'll be surprised how many that actually care. So if you need that one or two, male, female, whatever situation it may be, that's very good, because they took time out of their busy schedule to check on you to make sure you're taking care of yourself, eating, doing the proper things, and making sure you're happy. And that really matters when you're going through this journey in your life. And it's not easy for anybody. So if anybody ever told you it's easy, it is not. Everybody grieves differently. Everybody feels differently. Everybody copes differently. Life is hard. And when you're going through this grief process, ladies and gentlemen, it is a day-to-day routine. You don't know who you're going to be at the end of the day. You don't know who you're going to be in the morning time. You just don't know, because it's like an up and down roller coaster ride that keeps going and going. So I just recommend take care of yourself. It's very important. It's very essential. And it's very, very must. Okay. All right. The last one we're going to talk about, the grief process. How is my relationship with my parents? So most people may have had parents in their lives, and they may have both went home and be with God. Most may have had mom, or they just had dad, or they may have just been, whatever the situation may be. And their grievance is very significant. And this topic right here, I'm going to stick on for a few more minutes before I log off, to kind of give you an understand where their mindset is. Okay. When somebody have had a situation in terms of losing both parents, losing one parent, or losing the other parent, the relationship may grow in some cases. This is, I'm talking to the ones who still have a parent alive. Their relationship may grow to get closer, or they may drift apart. See, with a woman, kids tend to get close and make sure mom is okay and make sure her health is intact and whatever situation may be. Or flip it, she may push them away and want to live her own life and want to be a loner. Okay, with dad, he may want his kids to be around to do this and that and the third. Flip it. He may not want any of that and want to just kind of do his own thing. Now we have the ones who don't have both in the home, both around to have their relationship. So they have to figure out how they're going to maintain each and every day of their life. They're going to figure out how they're going to maintain In the oven. It's in the oven. Much love. Sorry about that. And when you think about how do they maintain every day, how are they functioning? How are they really functioning every day? Now, this is a conversation that's going to really make you really think. How is this man and how is this woman really maintaining themselves? How is their mental state at this point in their life? How are they coping with that? Now, we're going to take that road. So pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take the road that, okay, this person has lost both parents and have siblings. This person has lost both parents and has no siblings. How are they coping with this? How are they dealing with this? How is their grief after all this time? And how are they living day to day? They have to take one day at a time, ladies and gentlemen. They have to take one moment, 1 ounce, one being to be able to function. And to be able to be in that state of mind, it can be complicated at times because they don't have that bond or that connection or that, oh, I need to make that phone call or I need to make that reach. But before they normal, when they think about it, it clicks like, oh, I can't do that because they're not here, or I can't go there because they're not there. It kind of brings them back to reality. And they get so depressed, they get so hurt, they get so bitter inside that they feel like nobody in the world understands what they're going through when these different episodes come to place. I come to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. There are so many people out there who have lost their loved ones, parents especially, and siblings. Well, the siblings may be close after the death of their parents, or they may not be close. And you may have that child who didn't have anybody to fall back on, so they're alone. So they have to really figure out what they're going to do. So this is where they really seek out for help, or some of them may shelter themselves. And this is one of these conversations, ladies and gentlemen, that you have to think about, like, are they really okay all the time? Honestly, truthfully, they're not okay all the time. And a lot of times, if they don't have that kind of relationship spiritually, they're just kind of muddling through life, trying to make each and every day the best as they can. And that's where it leads to other things that kind of consume them, that is kind of worldly. And when they get down to that place, they get into a place of darkness. And when they get to a place of darkness, they just are so alone. They just kind of prideful. They kind of just shut the world out and kind of do their own thing. And don't let too many people close to them, because they feel like if they let anybody close to them, it may trigger that person to really get close to them, and then that person may go. So they keep to themselves. You see what I'm saying? So you have different scenarios about how grief is worked and how grief is dealt with, ladies and gentlemen. It's an ongoing battle. We're going to continue to talk about these topics. We really are. Because it's very important to talk about it in our modern day age, unfortunately, the times we live in. A lot of times people don't want to talk about this. Let me tell you something. You turn them social media pages off and you turn them TVs off and turn everything off in the house, your mind begins to wander. And that's what most people don't want it to do. They want to consume themselves or block a lot of stuff out so they don't have to think about it. And that's not okay, because the more you block it out and the more you pack it in, the more you shove it away, it's going to get worse. It's going to be like, you know how they have fireworks and those big old things they be shooting out in the sky? That's how bad that's going to get. If anybody get in your path, they're going to catch some real significant problems, because you're going to let out everything. And they didn't even have to do anything for that to come out. They're going to have a big explosion. And that explosion is going to scatter over anybody they're coming in contact with, ladies and gentlemen. And they are going to explode. And you didn't even have to do nothing. You may just say hi to them and then they just ready to snap, because they kept it in so long. And they feel like if anybody contact them or talk to them, that, oh, this person may go or leave and never come back, this and that, the negative things that go through a person's mind, what they feel and how they feel. Ladies and gentlemen, what I recommend, if you know any friends or family that's going through this right now or experiences continuously, just contact them, even if they don't respond, because people need to be checked on daily. If it's somebody you haven't talked to in a while or they haven't spoke, don't worry about them responding. As long as you reached out and text them and talk to them and tell them that you care and that you love them, that's all you can do. It's up to them to receive it. It's up to them to identify it. It's up to them to respond. But if they have no response, that's okay. Because eventually, during time, they may come back with something. They may not. But as long as they know that somebody out there took time out of their busy day to care. That's what we need to understand, ladies and gentlemen. We need to understand reaching out and touch someone. Show them that you care, because everybody needs somebody to talk to. Everybody needs somebody to love on. Everybody let them know that they are appreciated and they're well loved. Man, it's a lot to think about, ladies and gentlemen. But it's always good to know that when you go out, walk, talk, and just really speak up for yourself. There's somebody out there who's been through something just like you. Remember that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in to The Grief Process. My name is Minister Johnson. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to talk about 2 different slides tomorrow. And tomorrow's slide will be, where do I find joy in the midst of my pain? And then the next one is, what kind of books or coping skills should I use to help me live a productive life? So those are 2 points we're going to talk about tomorrow on On Time Ministries page, as well as the On Time Ministry YouTube channel. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back on here at 8 p.m. this evening to do a presentation for On Time. So it'll be streaming on Time Ministry Facebook page, the True Salt 1000 Facebook page, as well as YouTube page, everybody. And anybody who is on IG, OTM 77777, that's 67s, or the True Salt 1000 IG, you can see this presentation on my YouTube channel, which is On Time Ministry, on the cover page with angel wings and a blue sky. You can watch the replay of the presentation. Unfortunately, IG don't let you show stuff. Third party don't let you scream nothing, because you just got to do it live, so you can't show what you got going on. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be holding the phone while I'm talking, so that's just going to be a complete waste of time. So I just want to let anybody know who has IG and don't really use Facebook like that to go ahead and check out the video footage on IG. Again, it's OTM 77767, and then True Salt 1000 IG. Make sure you tune into those 2 places. If you're not there, you're there. So you get the best of both worlds from Minister Johnson. So I love you all. Have an amazing and a wonderful Tuesday. And again, I'll be back on at 8 p.m. with the On Time Ministry presentation. Thank you all for tuning in. Have an amazing afternoon.